Well, welcome to the coolest people I know. I'm here with literally one of the coolest people I know. She is a sales leader and a mortgage advisor with Lending Heights here in beautiful Oakmont, PA, home to the most ridiculous golf course in all of planet Earth,
Artist in the
actually
world, so I
rated.
hear.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I've never been there. My dad always harasses me and says that, like, if we ever go, it's just nothing but nightmares. So,
Yeah.
but Anne Sullivan, welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
It's so good to have you. And it's so good to have you, especially in this extremely tumultuous time in our economy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We've worked together. So I own a very small real estate portfolio, nothing super exciting, nothing, to write home about, but you've helped me acquire a couple of those properties, and I'm super grateful for that.
Amazing. Yeah, it was so lovely to work together. It's very exciting to see people grow their investment portfolios and to be a fun piece of that puzzle.
So tell us a little bit about like what it is that you do. Like everyone hears mortgage advisor and like, that may put some people to sleep, but I see your Instagram and like you guys seem like you're having the most fun day to day.
Oh my gosh, we do have fun in the office. I live in Oakmont also, so I am in the office all the time. And we have a really great culture here where we're having a lot of fun, but also in a very serious segment of the world, mortgages. Nobody is really excited about what we have to sell. They just want the house. So nobody wants the mortgage, but they want the house, but we are a means to an end. So if we can, fill that hole or that need for somebody in a really cool, authentic way, give them some good education and help them through that home buying process, like that's what is exciting to us.
Mm, that's fantastic. Being a resident of Oakmont, I have to ask because the Oakmont Bakery is right there, one of the greatest bakeries in
Yes.
Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Metro. What's kind of your go-to in Oakmont Bakery?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna say this wrong. Please forgive me for saying this incorrectly. I think it's punchki. It
Okay.
is it is the Polish dessert that has like it looks like an incredible pastry donut thing, had a baby with a filling, and it just like all came together to be like an incredible doughy dessert thing. And somebody told me once how to say it, and I'll never master it. So someone please forgive me, but that has to be my go-to. Lemon,
Everybody listening, watching, get in the comments, put the syllables
the
there for us.
pronunciation, please.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They're so good.
Wow. And so I guess tell us a little bit about the business, how much do you do like per year business wise? Like how big's your team?
Yeah, so it's really cool because I get to lead some teams. I cut back on production a little bit so I can split my time in a really cool way with my production and the agents that I'm really excited to work with and the team members I'm excited to help them grow their business. So I have, oh gosh, I forgot this question was maybe going to come up. So three, 10 to 12-ish team members that I get to just reach out and touch on a daily basis. And it's really cool to be an influence over them or even just a collaborative partner to just assist them in anything that they might need to be better at what they do. And then also in my production, I'm probably around 60 to 70 units a year. So separate mortgages per year. And gosh, that varies in Pittsburgh. We have an average loan size of about 220,000. So however that shakes out, 15 to 16, 17 million, something like that throughout the year. So it is very cool. Like me personally, I get to touch 60 to 70 families, investors, home buyers annually. And over the course of my career, about 13 and a half ish years, I've had a really cool opportunity to help quite a few people collectively. So that's been really awesome.
Mm. That's awesome. So one of I think it's no surprise to anyone, right now the economy is kind of, feeling like it's very terrible, depending on
Sure.
which side of the spectrum you're on. If you're,
Yeah.
extremely wealthy, it may feel like it's not so bad, but for a number of millennials or, older Gen Z who are looking to get into the buyer market looking for a first time home. It can be a real
Yeah.
challenge. I guess
Yeah.
tell me a little bit of what you're seeing. You're on kind of the finance side of that. You're on the side
Yeah.
providing that. I guess tell us a little bit of what you're seeing.
I'm going to answer this one in two different ways, two buckets. I have a purchase bucket and a refinance bucket. So on the purchase side, affordability has been such a hot topic of conversation. People are feeling the pinch everywhere: grocery, gas, utilities, just day to day. I want to go out and get a dinner and it's no longer $50, it's 120, and my groceries aren't $100 a week anymore. They're $400 a week. Like my insurance, my everything has just like gone up, 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 up. And it doesn't feel like national average of pay has increased at the same rate. So I see that on the purchase side where we're trying to get creative for the first time home buyer or the buyer that falls into that like income segment under the area median threshold, and give them some low down payment, no down payment options, get them into a clever structure where we're utilizing some assistance from maybe some different parts of whatever town or area they live in, or getting some assistance from the seller. There's just like so many creative ways to try to package those deals together for affordability specifically. As we know, rates have not come down. Touch on that in a hot second, I'm sure. But the other flip side to that is on the refinance side. So somebody I maybe did a purchase loan for 2 years ago, and they maybe put 10% down conventional. The credit was in the high 700s. I have a very specific scenario I'm actually thinking of, and I did like a soft pull on their credit to refresh the information and go do a refinance for them. And they are just like drowning in debt, and things have gotten very expensive, and their taxes have gone up, and the credit has decreased quite a bit. And just like layer on layer on layer on layer of example of like how people are feeling. And that's just one example of many that I see over and over and over again in the last couple of years. I did a purchase mortgage for them 2 years ago, and they qualified to buy their house, and life events, expensive things are happening, and they may not even qualify for a refinance of their home they already own because of things that have happened. So these are the things I'm seeing a lot of. Like refinances are still happening and people are still okay, but everybody is looking to save money. I just did a refinance for a couple and they saved $80 a month on the new mortgage payment, and they were happy.
Wow. Yeah, it's such a bizarre time. It feels like such a bizarre time.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, you've been around for like 13 years, which
Yeah.
means, like you said. But I mean, coming right out of like the 2008, housing market. I guess
Right
not
on the
really
tail
just
end.
right out of it, but right on the
Yeah.
tail end of it. Yeah. I mean, so does this feel like it's much different? Does this feel like it's going somewhere positive at some point? I mean, are things planning on turning around? We talked prior to
Mm.
starting this that you were going to solve the entire housing market prior
Yeah. Yeah.
before we end this. So
Totally. Yeah, I'm happy to solve the housing big
so
question
glad.
mark. Where's the market going? Where's the interest rates going? Humans much smarter than me that I follow, I lean on for this type of information. And the sentiment is like essentially what goes up must come down somewhere. Are we going to see 2 and 3% rates again? I doubt it. I don't know. I try to encourage people to think about the state of the world that created an atmosphere for rates to be at 2 and 3%. Like, I don't think we want to go back there.
That's fair.
But to have a healthy economy and to have a healthy like market, so to speak, like our rates probably should be in like the fours or fives, like something in there, like is really likely where they should be for it to kind of normalize. So we're still a little heavy as far as the mortgage markets are concerned on interest rates, still seeing rates with a 6 or sometimes a 7 in front of it, depending on the product. And our rates are still better now than they historically have been in the past couple of years. So after we came out of the 2-3% era and we like whoop, really quick went up to like 7 plus, we have kind of leveled off from there a little bit, where we're starting to see that refinance opportunity from people who have like a 7.25, 7.5, or almost 8%. If they refinance into like the mid to low sixes, that's still a win for them. And seeing some of that pressure relief from like lowering the payment a little bit, like right now.
Hmm. If you had to predict, and I know this is I understand it's wildly
It's
impossible
wild,
to do
yeah.
so. Yeah. So, but just given your expertise and kind of what you've seen, what you
Mm-hmm.
understand even prior to entering into your, into what you're doing now, if you had to kind of predict when we'd get out of this consistent hyperbole where we're like 2,
Mm-hmm.
7, and if you're right. Like I never thought about it. Like the conditions that made in 2 and 3% are nothing that we'd want to go through again.
No, yeah.
Like the benefits, oh yeah, they were there, but
Right,
like, oh, the world is burning. Who wants to go through that again?
right.
So, what does leveling off look like? And if
Mm-hmm.
you had to kind of like, what's your gut tell you about what kind of time frame we might actually be seeing that kind of thing?
Yeah, I kind of looked at this year, 2025, as for those people that follow sports, it's like the freshman team. They're coming up, they're like figuring out how to play together, and like they're like getting in their groove. I felt like 2025 was kind of like that building year for the freshman team. We're like, okay, we did the spike, and now we're starting to like figure out how to play together again. Like how does this part of the industry play together with like the Fed moving the rate around? And I'll give you a good example. Last September, when everybody was excited because the Fed was going to lower the rate. Well, in the mortgage industry, the lowered rate, it gets built into the margins of lenders months before the thing actually happens. So in the last part of the summer last year, we saw rates go down, and it was really good. We're like really excited. And then we thought the Fed was going to lower the rate 50 basis points, and they didn't. They only lowered the rate a
Remember that?
quarter. And so what we ended up seeing was this like recovery period of, oh, shoot, we didn't do that right. We guessed wrong. And then we spent the last like essentially 8 to 10 months recovering from that misstep. And then here we come again. Rates are looking good, looking good. We're coming into September. The Fed's going to meet again. But this time we guessed correctly. And we're like, okay, we think the Fed's going to lower the rate a quarter. They did. We stayed pretty on par. The rates dipped down a little bit after the Fed met volatility. And now we're kind of like slowly creeping back into like where we were at the beginning of September, end of August, as far as like the rates are concerned. And I think we're going to still see throughout the end of the year that positive trend in the right direction of those rates starting to trickle down. And I'm saying, like, if you've ever watched like something trickle, think about that very tangibly. Like, they're going to trickle down a little bit. Where they land, gosh, it's a really hard thing to know for sure. But what I would get excited about seeing is where we can get like the market rate under 6. That would be really exciting. That would do a lot for movement. And we're right now, it's like 6.4 something ish around there. Like, we're moving in the right direction. To be able to see, I think 2026, we're going to see some really positive movement and hopefully just some stability. More importantly, stability is what the Fed wants to see for them to continue lowering their part. And it's not a one for one. So when the Fed lowers, like, we're not lowering our thing the same, because we're hedging against some other things too, other volatilities in other parts of the market, and different things like that. But it is a layered
Yeah.
layered piece of information.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like it feels a lot like trying to call the weather. Like
Oh, yeah,
you can only look at so many things, and then you carry your umbrella and pray for rain, but you never
just
know
in
what
case.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. And I mean, the other piece that goes into this is housing affordability. I mean,
Mm.
we look at how much housing prices have risen
Hmm.
over even the past 10 years. My
Yeah.
wife and I lived in Philly. We bought our house for $95,000, a nice row home, 3 bedroom, like newly renovated, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, we ended up selling in 2020 for 150. Um,
Wow.
and then in the end of 2020, we went on Redfin and saw it was for 350.
Hmm.
And I mean that level of
That's
jump,
huge.
yeah, is massive. And I mean, granted, it was not worth 350. But
Yeah.
I think about even the fact that that was like a starter home, that kind of thing. How, what kind of forecast are we looking at for that? Are we going to begin to see housing prices come down? Like, are first time home buyers actually going to be able to afford these kind of
Mhm.
things?
I think that's such a good question. I think as far as the values are concerned, if we're looking at it on a macro scale and a national level, it really depends on the region of the country that you're in, how your area specifically is affected by home values coming up or coming down. Like places like California, for example, competitive market, but you see these major like roller coaster, like it comes up, it comes down, the values are like kind of all over the place depending on what kind of market it is. Where, say, for example, in Pittsburgh, where we are most familiar with the real estate market, Pittsburgh's a very steady growth real estate market, where we're seeing a decent growth percentage, not like this crazy spike in home values, but like a decent growth percentage year over year, that like homes are improving in value, but not like 200 grand a year on like $100,000 home. It might, your $100,000 home or $300,000 home might improve in a year, 20, 30 grand, like, or maybe a specific like percentage. So it's definitely going up, but it is very region based on value. I don't think we're going to see, in my opinion, I don't think in markets like Pittsburgh, where it's kind of like blue collar, still affordable home prices, like you can definitely buy something under 500,000, under 300,000, like that still exists. I think we're going to see steady growth in those areas, and maybe some of these like big markets, either they level off or see some dips in home values when we go through more of like that rate, the rates coming down, and more of that like buyer's market, to be like a cliche term.
Hmm. Okay, that's good news. What's some other good news for like first time home buyers, that kind of
Yeah.
thing?
Some other good news for first-time home buyers, really, because affordability has been such a question mark, companies like Lending Heights, we're a broker. So we have 28 or 30 investors that we can work with. Everybody carries like a little bit of a different program or product. And as affordability has been such a hot button topic, we have access to and have been given products and programs that tailor to those needs specifically, whether it's a 1% down conventional program, or there's a down payment assistance program, or the loan officer themselves educating ourselves in like the area that the home is being purchased. Like, for example, in Pittsburgh, we have the Urban Redevelopment Authority. If somebody under a certain income level is purchasing a home inside the city limits of Pittsburgh, there are several $1,000s of benefit to help with closing costs or down payment, in addition to a program that I might be able to offer with my lender or investor, and also seller's assist that you can get from a seller. Like, there's all sorts of programs that have been developed in the last couple of years as affordability has been an issue, that loan officers have educated themselves, and also these investors or banks or lending institutions have developed products and programs to help with down payments, closing costs, rate incentives, like different things like that. I think that's pretty good news for how we've pivoted the last couple of years.
Hmm. Okay. That is good to hear. So I think a lot of individuals I've spoken to, feel very, tentative. They want to take those first steps, but
Yeah.
everything feels either completely unreachable
Mm-hmm.
or um, or absolutely untenable. Like
Yeah.
they would step into those situations and then all of a sudden we hear the horror stories of, mortgage rates shooting up from out underneath them and, like variable rates and all those kind of things. We hear the
Sure.
horror stories of 2008 happening all over again.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that there's at least some good news hopefully coming
Yeah.
down the pike. So,
Absolutely.
and when did you say that would all be happening? What date exactly?
Oh yes. Let's see. Let me get my calendar out.
Yes.
My
We could
crystal
schedule that
ball.
for Q1 of 2026. So
2026. Yeah, coming in hot.
nice, right after Christmas. So
Yes, exactly.
thank you. Thank you for making that happen.
Anything, anytime, anything I can do to help.
Well, hey, as part of what we do here, so just to flip the script a little bit,
Sure.
we always like kind of doing a question from a hat. And so I've got my very large spinny wheel here
Oh my gosh, how fun.
that is always ready to go with a number of questions, some of these extremely serious, some of these not so much. And so let's see if we get something different. The past few times, it's been the same one.
Oh,
Ooh, okay. What animal
wow.
secretly represents you better than you'd like to admit?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Like literally the first thing that popped into my mind was like a mountain lion.
A mountain lion? Tell us more
Yeah.
about that.
I mean, I'm like a bit fierce in my life, but also like kind of chill, like prowling around, looking for the next opportunity for a meal, quote unquote, so to speak. So I don't know. It's literally the first thing that popped into my mind. Now I have my dogs and everything, and they're adorable, but like, I don't think I'm like that. I don't know. Mountain lion just popped in there.
That's interesting. So, how many dogs do you have?
Two.
Oh, nice. What kinds?
I have a pit mix. He's
Okay.
45 pounds of just love and snuggles. And my little retriever mix, who is obsessed with her ball and just can't stop chasing it around. She just full of energy. Sweet little
That's
angel, though.
awesome.
Yeah, she's
I
cute.
love it. So, somebody had said something interesting, and I'm only going to say this because you mentioned having dogs, but
Mm-hmm.
wanting to be a mountain lion, which is a cat. So, somebody said that if you're a dog person, you secretly want your dogs to be people. But if
Yes.
you're a cat person, you secretly want to become a cat yourself.
Whoa.
And so,
Whoa.
which side of that would you be on? Because you have dogs,
Yeah.
but you just said that you'd see yourself as a mountain lion.
I see. And the interesting part is I had cats before and my dogs and my cats didn't get along, so had to rehome them. But they were my like first pets, like really ever that I had on my own as an adult human. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm more of like a cat or a dog person. I don't like prefer either way. But yeah, I had these two cats. Now my cats were like, I had this all black cat and I named him Kylo, after the Star Wars
Oh
character.
yeah,
And then I had a all brown cat and named her Ray after
of
Star Wars
course, yeah.
character. Yeah. So I don't know. I do want my dogs to be people though. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. I want to talk to them. I want to know what's going on during the day, how they're doing, what they're thinking
Mm.
about.
Take them out for coffee, that kind of thing.
Literally, we would sit down, we'd have ourselves a whole time. They'd be like, Mom, I really need some extra snacks in my life. I'm putting it in the suggestion box. They would be really pleased about it.
That's totally fair. I dig that. I dig that. Okay, so our closing question we always close with. Everybody's got this question that's been burning inside of them. What's the thing that you've always hoped somebody would ask you
Mm.
that no one's ever asked you before?
Hmm. I think I maybe have been asked this question a time or two in my life, but I think it's a question that a lot of people are not comfortable asking other people until they're like very close or they're in a business setting. But like, what do you think your like purpose in life is? Or what do you think your like why do you do what you do, or why do you live the life that you live? And I think that that's a very intimate question, but I also think it's a very cool question to even talk about with acquaintances, because if the person answering the question knows that they know like this is the thing that I'm meant to do, or the intention that I'm meant to live out, I think it becomes a very easy, casual conversation. And otherwise, it's very thought provoking, and the person asking the question becomes like a confidant, or a very cool, like, wow, that person really wants to get to know me. Like, that's very interesting.
Hmm. That's a good question. So let me then pose that to you. So
Sure.
a lot of times when we're growing up, we oftentimes, I want to be a fireman, I want to be an astronaut, I
Yeah.
want to be a teacher, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, adulthood comes on, we often end
Mm,
up in far different spots.
yeah.
You're right now uh, leading a team of 10 or 12 individuals who
Yeah.
are helping individuals find housing, build their investment portfolios. What how would you define your purpose in life right now?
Right now, in the season of life that I'm in, and have been in, as my like goal or my intention probably for the last at least 4 to 5 years. Really, my main focus and the thing that I feel the most drawn to is my excitement or my heart to like teach and train other people how to be successful. And if I continually like revert my intention back to that, I can plug it into so many different categories. So it's the people that I get to collaborate with as team members, like day in and day out, and how do I teach and train them how to be successful, or how do I impart some sort of wisdom or life experience, or just like be a support system to them so that they can grow independently. And also to the clients or customers I get to come into contact with, whether they're buying their first home, and I can teach and train them how to be successful in that area. But if I keep that as my focus, instead of like, I need to make this much money, or I need to like do this destinational thing, like I have to get to this thing, it's such a vague, broad topic. It's like, but the driver is very pure. Like, if that it continues to be the focus, then when I check and balance the things that I'm doing, like, hey, does this align with what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing? My decisions in life become very easy.
Hmm. Wow, that's powerful. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing so openly today.
Yeah,
I
of
will say,
course.
on your mission to help others be successful, I just want to say I appreciate how you've helped me and
Yeah.
my tiny little business of little tiny homes and all of that kind of
Growing.
stuff.
It's
So
growing.
growing, I like that.
Yeah.
You're right. I need to reframe that. So I appreciate that. So, and in this journey of finding all of the coolest people I know, I am grateful that you are one of the coolest people I know.
And likewise, by the way,
Oh,
such a
thank
cool
you.
person. Yes.
Thank you for joining us today for this conversation.
Thank
So
you. Thank you for
we look
having
forward
me.
to connecting with you for sure.